my dear learners, for this course on design of machine elements 2. In this module 2, we were discussing on design of springs. In today's lecture, we are ready to discuss design of helical compressive spring with non-circular cross-sectioned wire. Under non-circular cross-sectioned wire, we are addressing rectangular cross-sectioned wire and square cross-sectioned wire. Moving ahead, the problem number 9 of our discussion on design of springs states that a rectangular section helical spring is mounted on a buffer to sustain a maximum load of 30 kilonewtons. The deflection under load is limited to 100 millimeters. The spring is made of chromium vanadium steel with a factor of safety of 1.5. The longer side of the rectangle is 2 times the shorter side, and the spring is wound with longer side parallel to the axis. The spring index is 10. Design the spring completely. Let us solve this problem. If I list out the data given for problem number 9, we have a rectangular cross section helical spring. So we have a rectangular cross section spring. So let me represent the rectangular cross section spring. So I drawn rectangular cross section spring with longer side parallel to the axis. Let us have the axis of the helical coil. Let the longer side be H and shorter side be denoted by small b. So we have the rectangular cross section where H is greater than b, and let us also mark the mean diameter of the coils. And we also have the mean diameter d. So if you want to understand more clearly, you refer figure 11.5 of Design Data Handbook. Refer figure 11.5 of Design Data Handbook, wherein which he has given the pictorial view of square cross-sectioned wire helical compressive spring. If for rectangular cross-sectioned wire, one of the side should be larger than the other side. He is clearly stating the longer side is parallel to the axis, and this denotes the pitch, axial distance between the consecutive coils. Apart from this, he states that it has to sustain a maximum load of, he has given F max. F max is 30 kilonewtons, 30 into 10 to the power of 3 newtons. The deflection under load is limited to 100 millimeters. So Y max is also specified, which is 100 mm. The spring made of chromium vanadium steel. So spring material is specified. Spring material is chromium vanadium steel, and they specified the factor of safety as 1.5. The longer side of the rectangle is 2 times the shorter side. So the longer side is H, which is equal to 2 times the smaller side, which is small b. And the spring is wound with longer side parallel to the axis. The spring index is 10. Design the spring completely. So let's give the spring index C. For rectangular cross sections, spring index C is given by D by small b. So this you can see if you refer equation number 11.13a of page number 171. If you refer page number 171 and equation 11.13a, you will come to know that spring index is defined by D by B, where B is less than H, which is true here. B is the shorter side, and the value of which is specified as 10. So this is the given data. we have to design this spring completely. So we know the procedure that we are going to employ to design helical compressive springs. Let us design this spring completely. Moving for the solution. Coming for prerequisites, we should know the allowable shear stress, modulus of rigidity, density, and maximum force and maximum deflection. Since he has specified maximum force and maximum deflection, let me go for allowable shear stress. So from the same table, we have from table 11.5 of our design data handbook, referring to column 9 for chromium vanadium steel, we have allowable shear stress as 690 megapascals. It is ranging from 690 to 900. We are designing for lower value, that is for 690 megapascals. And referring to the same table, if I see column 10, he has specified the value of modulus of rigidity G as 0.07845 into 10 to the power of 6 megapascals. Or you can also refer table 1.1 of page number 11 of our design data handbook for carbon steels. We have modulus of rigidity as 78.45 in 10 to the power of 3 megapascals, which is same as the value what he has given in table 11.5 referring to column 10. And from this table, if you refer, you will get the density value also. So density value is specified as 7820 kg per meter cube. So if I convert this into newtons per millimeter cube, coming for weight density, I will get it as 7820 into 9.81 divided by 10 to the power of plus 9, which is nothing but 7820 into 9.81 relieves the value as 76714.2 into 10 to the power of minus 9 Newton per millimeter cube. So this completes the prerequisites required for this problem for completely design of the helical compressive spring. Moving for step 1, that is in first step we should find width of the wire here, width and height of wire, which will give us the cross section of the wire. So to do that, we should go for stress equation, that is allowable shear stress equation, which is given by for rectangular cross section tau allowable is equal to KFD of 1.5 H plus 0.9 B whole divided by B square H square. So this is equation 11.13a referring to page number 171 of our design data handbook. So this is the equation for allowable shear stress for rectangular cross section wire helical compressive springs. Now we know all the values. We know that H is equal to 2B and we know the value of C. C is D by B, which is 10. So therefore I can write B as 10 times small b. So I can replace F max is known, tau allowable is known. I don't know the value of K. So therefore find the value of K. The equation is remains the same, which is specified below this equation in page number 171 of our design data handbook. We know that K is equal to 4C minus 1 by 4C minus 4 plus 0.615 by C. This is Wahl's correction factor. So if I substitute the value of C as 10 and solve, I'll get the answer as 40 minus 1 by 40 minus 4 plus 0.615 by 10, which is nothing but 1.145. So now we know all the values. If I substitute and solve, I'll get allowable shear stress. Sorry, this is yield shear stress. So allowable is yield by factor of safety. Factor of safety is 1.5. So therefore tau allowable will be 690 divided by factor of safety is 1.5, which is equal to K is 1.145 into F max is 30 kilonewtons, 30 to 10 to the power of 3 into value of D. D is 10B into 1.5 H. H is 2 times B plus 0.9 B whole divided by B square. H is 2B, 2B the whole square. So if I solve this, I'll get the value of B as I'll get the value of B as 26.98 millimeters, which is nearly equal to 27 millimeters. Now we know that H is equal to 2B, so therefore 27 into 2 will be 54 millimeters. So this completes the calculation of width and height of this rectangular cross section via helical compressive spring. Now moving for step 2. Step 2 is to find coil diameters. We know that mean diameter D is equal to C into small b. C is 10, B is 27. So therefore I get the answer as 270 millimeters. Coming for outer diameter, D naught is D plus B, which is 270 plus 27, which is 270 plus 27, 297 millimeters. Coming for inner dia, Di is D minus B, that is 270 minus 27, which is 243 millimeters. So this completes step 2. Moving ahead for step 3, that is to find number of turns. To find active number of coils is to find the value of I. Use deflection equation for rectangular cross section where the deflection equation is given by 11.13b, that is y is equal to 2.83 IF d cube d square plus h square whole divided by b cube h cube g. So this is equation 11.13b of page number 172. So referring to page number 172, equation 11.13b, we have deflection equation. So calculate active number of coils using this equation. We have maximum deflection given as 100 millimeters. So therefore 100 is equal to 2.83 into active number of coils is unknown. F max is 3 into 10 to the power of 4 into D is 270 cube B is 27, H is 54, whole divided by B is 27, H is 54, G is 78.45 into 10 to the power of plus 3. So if I solve this equation, I will get active number of coils as I as 3.992, which is nearly equal to 4 coils. Next, moving for step number 4, to find total number of coils, that is I dash, active number of coils plus additional number of coils. From here onwards, the step remains the same as we employed to design circular cross section wire. Follow the same steps from table 11.4. From table 11.4 of page number 189, assume square and ground end condition, that is figure D. Assume square and ground end condition. If I assume square and ground end condition, the additional number of coils is 2, so therefore active number of coils, total number of coils is equal to active number of coils plus additional number of coils, which will be 4 plus 2 is equal to 6 coils. Let me pause this video for a while so that people can copy it down. Later we will solve step number 5 onwards. Now, moving ahead for step number 5 is to find free length. So, from the same table, from table 11.4 of page number 189, for square and ground end assumption, we have L0 should be greater than or equal to I plus N into small d plus y plus a. For rectangular cross sectioned wire, we should use, instead of d, we should replace it by h while calculating the free length. And coming for a, that is clearance is 25%, 0.25 of deflection. This is available in equation 1.11, 11.11 of page number 171. If I refer equation 11.11 of page number 171, we have specified the clearance as 0.25 times the deflection. So if I substitute and solve, I will get L0 as I plus N, that is 4 plus 2 is 6, into H is 54, plus deflection is 100, plus 25% of 100 is 25. So therefore, I will get the free length as 6 into 54, that is solid length, plus 100 plus 25, which is turning out to be 449 millimeters. Next, moving ahead for step number 6, to find solid length, we know that solid length is equal to I dash into d, which is nothing but I dash into h here for rectangular cross sectioned wire. So therefore solid length will be 324 millimeters. That is 54 times 6. 54 into 6 is 324 millimeters, correct. Moving for step number 7, to find pitch. from table 11.4, page number 189, we know that pitch is given by L naught minus 2h by I, that is L naught minus 2d by I, which should be written as pitch is equal to L naught minus 2h by I, which is nothing but L naught is 449 minus 2 into 54 divided by I is 4. So therefore pitch for this problem is 449 minus 2 into 54 divided by 4, which is turning out to be 85.25 millimeters. Next, moving for step number 8. Step number 8 is to find spring stiffness. We know that spring stiffness F naught is equal to F by Y, that is 30 kilonewtons divided by deflection is 100, which is nothing but 300 newtons per millimeters. Moving for step number 9, total length of coil, we have L is equal to pi capital D I dash. We know all the values. Pi times 270 into I dash is 6, which is turning out to be 5089.38. millimeters. Moving for last step to find natural frequency of vibration. Coming for natural frequency of vibration, assuming fixed free boundary condition, from equation 11.22a of page number 173 of our design data handbook, we have natural frequency F is equal to 1 by 2 pi into square root of 2F naught G by W. So therefore natural frequency of vibration is given by root of 2 times F naught. F naught should be in newtons per meter because G is in meters per second square, hence it will become 300 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton meters into G is 9.81, very important. Then coming for weight, weight is given by volume into weight density, that is weight density into volume. While calculating volume, we should always consider length as pi di, because only active number of coils will vibrate whereas the end coils will not vibrate. So let me put it more clearly. While calculating volume for rectangular cross section, area is breadth into height into length will be pi di. So we know breadth is 27, height is 54 into pi into d is 270 into I is 4. So volume will be 4946877.456 millimeter cube. So if I substitute and solve, I will get frequency as 1 by 2 pi square root of 300 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton per meter into 9.81 whole divided by weight density is 76714. 0.2 into 10 to the power of minus 9 into 4946877. 0.456. Okay, so I'll get maximum frequency in hertz as the answer is 19.82 hertz. So this is the maximum frequency of vibration for the given helical compressive spring with rectangular cross section wire. So this is the complete solution for problem number 9. Let me pause this video for a while so that people can copy it down. Later we will solve problem number 10. Now moving ahead for problem number 10 of our discussion. A railway car weighing 18 kilonewtons and moving at a speed of 72 meters per minute is brought to rest by a buffer consisting of two helical compressive springs of square cross section. In bringing the car to rest, the spring undergoes a deflection of 0.25 meters. The allowable shear stress for the steel wire is 0.3 gigapascals. Spring index is 6. Design the spring completely. Take modulus of rigidity G as 84 GPa. Let us solve this problem. Refer to the figure 11.5 of design data handbook. We have the figure for square cross section helical compressive spring. For square cross section, B is equal to H. Very, very important. This is for square cross section. We are solving problem number 10. If I list out the data given, the weight of the railway car is 18 kilonewtons, which is moving with a velocity of 72 meters per minute, is brought to rest by a buffer consisting of two helical compressive springs of square cross section. In bringing the car to rest, the spring undergoes a deflection. Ymax is given as 0.25 meters. The allowable shear stress is directly specified the allowable shear stress as 0.3 gigapascals, that is 0.3 into 10 to the power of 3 megapascals, Newton per millimeter square. Spring index C is 6, which is nothing but D by B or D by H, because it is a square cross section. B and H are same. He has also specified modulus of rigidity as 84 gigapascal, which is 84 into 10 to the power of 3 megapascals. So this is the data given. Let us solve this problem. We already solved this type of problem for circular cross section wire. The procedure remains same. Only difference is the expression for tau allowable and the maximum deflection differs. Apart from that, all the procedure remains same. Since we have already solved this type of problems in our previous lecture, let me solve this problem directly without any extra explanations. That is, for equilibrium, we already know that kinetic energy of car must be equal to energy absorbed by the spring. You know that kinetic energy is given by half mv square should be equal to half Fy. We have more than one spring. I should consider number of springs also. So therefore, half into mass is weight by acceleration due to gravity, that is 18 into 10 to the power of 3 divided by 9.81 is the mass, into velocity is 72 by 60 meters per second. This should be equal to half into F into Y 0.25 into number of springs is 2. So if I solve force on each spring, F will be, so cancelling off on both sides, I'll get 80 into 10 to the power of 3 into 72 square divided by 9.81 into 60 square. This is equal to alpha x into 0.25 into 2. So I solve, I'll get force on each spring as 5284.4 newtons. So this is the force acting on each spring. So once you know maximum force and maximum deflection, we can completely design the spring. So moving for step 1 is to find width, which is equal to height for square cross section. To find width of spring for square cross section, you should refer equation 11.15a of page number 173. That is, tau is equal to 2.4 into k into f into d divided by hq. This is equation 11.15a of page number 173, where k is Wahl's correction factor, which is already known to us, 4c minus 1 by 4c minus 4 plus 0.615 by c. So we know the value of c as 6. So therefore Wahl's correction factor will be 24 minus 1 divided by 24 minus 4 plus 0.615 by 6, which is 1.2525. So we know all the values. If I substitute and solve, I'll get the answer for H or B as tau allowable is known, given for us 0.3 into 10 to the power of 3, (2.4) into 1.2525 into F is calculated just now, 5284.4 into D. D is 6B or 6H. So whatever you can take, I'll take it as 6H divided by HQ. So if I solve for H, I'll get H, which is equal to B as 17.82, which is nearly equal to 18 millimeters. So you can adopt the answer as 18 millimeters. Now moving for step 2, that is to find coil diameters. We know that mean diameter capital D is equal to C times H or B, that is 6 into 18, which will be 108. Outer dia is D plus H, 108 plus 18, it is 126 millimeters. Inner dia is D minus H, which is 108 minus 18, that is 90 millimeters. Don't get confused. You can use D plus B, D minus B, you will get the same answer, because for square cross section B and H are same. Next, moving for step 3, to find active number of coils. To find active number of coils, I should use deflection equation. For square cross section, you should refer equation 11.15b. That is, y is equal to 5.66 IF dq by h to the power of 4 into g. So this is equation 11.15b of page number 173. So we know all the values. So y in mm will be 250 mm, 5.66 into I into F is 5284.4, D is 108 divided by H is 18 to the power of 4, G is given 84 into 10 to the power of 3. If I solve, and we get active number of coils as Q, which yields us the value as 58.5, which is equal to 59 coils or 59 turns. 59 turns are required to stop this railway car weighing 18 kilonewtons moving with a speed of 72 meters per minute. Now rest of the procedure remains same. Follow the same procedure which we have employed for problem number 9. So if you solve, you get the answers as, assuming square and ground end condition, I will get I dash 61 coils, and for step 5, that is, if I find the overall length L0, you will get the answer as 1410.5. Next, moving for step 6, that is solid length. Solid length will be 1098 mm. And step 7, if you find the pitch, you get the answer as 23.3 mm. So assume square and ground end condition. From table 11.4, you know the formulas. Repeat the same procedure what you have employed for problem number 9 and verify the answers. So in step 8, you will find the spring stiffness, which is equal to 21.14 Newton per millimeters, and finally in step 9, we get total length. L is pi d I dash, which is 20696.8 mm. I not solved step number 10, that is to find the natural frequency of vibration. This is because of the reason he has not specified the density and also has not specified what material is these springs are made of. So since density is unknown, we cannot find the natural frequency of vibration. So follow the same steps which we have employed follow the same procedure, same formulas which we have employed for problem number 9 from step 4 onwards, and verify the answers. So this completes our discussion on helical compressive spring with non-circular cross-sectional wire. From next lecture onwards, we will be ready to discuss composite springs, that is springs connected in series and parallel. That's all from this lecture. Thank you all.